What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here, product specialist at BMW of Morristown, and in today's video we are doing a walk around and overview with this 2024 BMW X6 xDrive40i. So the X6 along with the X5 are both all new for 2024. They have received a life cycle impulse, an LCI in BMW terms. That means they've been refreshed and redesigned. So in this video we're going to talk about what is new for the 2024 X6 as opposed to the 2023 X6, and we'll go over the exterior styling, the interior styling, as well as the powertrain and performance. Now the X5 along with the X6 is also redesigned for 2024, and we already did a video on the 2024 X5, so if you'd like to check that out, if you want details on the X5 specifically, we'll link to that video in a pop-out card right here. You can go watch that after this video, but for now let's talk about the 2024 X6. We'll start with a general overview of the X6 and then we'll jump into front end styling. Alright, so before we get into all the styling details on the X6, I just want to start with a brief overview of sort of what the X6 is. So the X6 is very closely related to the X5. In fact, it is basically just an X5 that has a slightly redesigned front end and a slope back roofline. So the X6 actually started this category of car, the luxury SUV coupe, back in 2008 or so when the first generation X6 came out. And now, of course, Porsche has the Cayenne Coupe, Audi has the Q8, Mercedes has the coupe versions of the GLE and cars like that. So everybody is doing it now, but the X6 was the first one to do it. And this is the latest version of that car. So it is an X5, but it's styled a little bit more boldly. And of course, it has that unique slope back roofline to give it a more streamlined, sporty, coupe-like look while maintaining the ride height, the drive height, and many of the practicality benefits of an SUV. So that's sort of the ethos of the X6, why it exists. Let's talk about the powertrains in the 2024 X6. So like the styling, these have also been revised for 2024. So we do still have three tiers like previously in the pre-LCI. We have the 40i, the M60i, which replaces the M50i, and of course you have the M competition version of the X6. So starting with the entry-level 40i, we still have a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6. It's the B58. It's BMW's corporate inline 6 that we use in all our cars with the 40i designation. And in the X6, it makes 375 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. That's up from just 335 in the pre-LCI, so a nice, healthy horsepower bump for the 40i's, and you definitely feel it. So we actually did a video driving the X5 with this powertrain, and you can totally feel the horsepower boost. I talk about the differences in the engine and how it feels on the road in that video if you want to check it out. But nice, healthy bump in horsepower for the B58 and the 40i. Great engine, that's what we have here. Really fantastic, very potent, very reliable, just an all-around great engine. Good fuel economy too, really, really strong performance out of the 40i. Then you can go up to the M60, which again, as the name might suggest, is very new for 2024. So it's a totally new engine. It's the S68 as opposed to the N63 that was in the M50 before. So the S68 is still a 4.4-liter twin turbocharged V8, and it also makes the same amount of horsepower, 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. However, it's a totally new engine, so it's been revised to be more reliable, to be a little bit more powerful feeling. It has that 48-volt mild hybrid boost. It's just a more advanced, more technologically modern engine compared to the N63, which had been around for a while. Now the M60 is a totally new engine, really, really impressive V8. And speaking of mild hybrid, all X5s and X6s for 2024 are mild hybrid. So you see those purple cables. The 40i has the 48-volt system, the M60 does, and so does the X6 and X5M. So all 48-volt mild hybrids, no plug-in or anything like that. That just helps with torque fill and auto start-stop functionality. So that's the M60, and then we have the X6M competition, only competition for 2024. So that makes 617 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. Again, the numbers don't change compared to the pre-LCI. However, it is that new S68, so it's a much more capable, much newer, much more reliable engine. So while the numbers, at least on paper, are the same, the engine, you're getting a much more technologically advanced, much more capable, more robust engine. Now, I say on paper because we all know that BMW underrates their horsepower numbers a lot. Now, I'm sure the S68 with its mild hybrid tech and with all the advancements that were made over the S63 that it replaces, it simply must be making more power than the S63. I'm sure it is. I haven't seen one on a dyno yet, but I'm sure when those videos come out, when people start dynoing the new X5M, the new M5, whenever that comes along, it's going to be making a lot more than the S63 that came before it, and a lot more than what BMW says. They just like to be humble with their horsepower numbers. So those are the powertrains in the X6. All of them are paired to 8-speed automatic transmissions as standard, no manual available, obviously. So those are the powertrains. Let's continue on with the styling. All right, so up front with the 2024 X6, you'll notice a bunch of styling changes compared to both a 2023 X6 and also the X5, even the 2024. So let's start with what's new for 2024 for the X6, then we'll compare it to the 2024 X5. So first thing that you're probably noticing are these lights. These are new for 2024, both X5 and X6. They've been streamlined. The lines around the perimeter of the light have been smoothened out, less angles, a more modern, more minimalistic approach to a headlight design. You now have arrow-shaped daytime running lights. We maintain BMW's signature quad light design, so you have 2 arrows in each headlight for quad lights. These look really nice. I like the way these daytime running lights look. I loved the Corona rings on the laser lights of the pre-LCI X5 and X6, but I really do like the way these arrows look as well. Now, the headlights are a little bit interesting for 2024. So you have the base, nothing fancy headlight, the entry-level headlight that comes with the car. Then you have the option to go to a full LED, which sort of replaces the laser light. That is an upgrade option, and that is the one that gets you those blue accents. Even though it's not a laser light, which traditionally has those blue accents, the full LED for X5 and X6 gets those blue accents. That's the upgrade headlight. And then you can get M Sport Professional, which this car has, which maintains the full LEDs but deletes the blue accents. So that gives you the shadow line lights, which deletes the blue accents. So if you see a car with M Sport Professional, it still has those full LEDs. Those blue accents have just been deleted as part of the shadow line light package. So a little bit interesting when you're ordering your X6 or X5, make sure you pay attention to what lights you want. If you want the blue accents, you cannot get shadow line or M Sport Professional. And if you want the upgraded lights without M Sport Professional, you're going to get the blue accents. So pay attention to that if you're ordering an X6 or an X5. Moving along to the center, we do have a revised grille. The shape is very similar to the pre-LCI X6. However, it has been sort of remolded, massaged a little bit to just look a little bit more modern. The lower part of the bumper is the big place of change besides the headlights up front. So that has been pretty completely reshaped. We get some nice aggressive looking openings on either side of that big central air vent. All of the openings have been reshaped, and these side air intakes here have also been reshaped to match the newer sort of corporate styling with those L-shaped vents. We see that on X3, X4. We're seeing that pop up on more and more models in the front of the car to have these L-shaped vents, and X6 gets that as well. Now, as far as differences from X5, 2024 X5, this part of the bumper here, this intake area, has been reshaped compared to X5. It's a little bit different on X6. The angle up here is a little bit sharper, whereas the X5 line sort of continues out this way and goes over. The grille is also the easiest way from the front of this car to tell it apart from an X5. So the X6 grille comes to a point over here, whereas the X5 grille is a more traditional sort of rounded shape here. So those two things in conjunction are really the only two ways to differentiate an X6 from an X5. Up front, of course, out back, it's totally different with the slope back roof design, which we will talk about. But that is the front end styling. I do want to point out that this car, like I said, has M Sport Professional, which is replacing shadow line in BMW lingo. It's now M Sport Professional. That gives you the black kidney grills, it gives you the shadow line lights, it gives you the black spoiler on the back of the car, so it just sort of takes some of those chrome or satin silver elements and blacks them out to give you a sleeker, a little bit more aggressive look. So that's the front end. Let's move around to the side. All right, so along the side of the 2024 X6, this is where you're going to notice not a big difference from the pre-LCI, but a big difference from the X5. So obviously this slope back roof design is the big thing with the X6. This is why you buy an X6 as opposed to an X5, because you like this styling and you want that bolder look. You don't want to look like the same shape as every other SUV on the market. You want something a little bit bolder, a little bit more different. That is the X6. But let's start front to back. So starting with the wheels, this is a 20-inch wheel. This is a really common wheel on M Sport equipped X5s and X6s. Not new, this is carryover from pre-LCI, but it looks nice. It's 275, 45, 20 all around, so it's a square setup. Nice looking wheel. There are new wheel options for the 2024 X5 if you would like a new wheel, and they look really nice. They have one wheel that really reminds me of the 403, which is an M Sport wheel from past 3 Series models, and I love that wheel, and I love that new wheel on the X5. So take a look at the build your own and see if you can spot those wheels. I think they look really, really nice. But there's plenty of really nice wheel options for the X5 and X6. This is the most common one, but this one does look good. And a 20-inch wheel fills out the X6's proportions pretty nicely. So you do have a side vent here. This looks different on the X6 than it does on X5. So on X5, it has some fins integrated into it. On X6, it's a little bit smoother, but it's still there. So they share a similar design element in that area, although it's tweaked slightly from one to the other. No M-winged mirrors. Obviously this is a 40i, but I'm sure M60 and of course X6M will get that. But body color here, you can on certain cars get that in black. As we move along the side of the car, nothing really fancy going on here, nothing really changed from 2023. And then again, of course, as we go down the side, this is where you really notice that slope back roof line. Again, this is the big pull for the X6. This is that bold design that you want if you are buying an X6 as opposed to an X5. This is what you're buying it for. So that's the side of the car. The back wheel is again a 20. Like I said, square setup, so nothing fancy going on there. I do want to mention that this car has red calipers, obviously front and back. So if you get M Sport Professional, one of the things that you get is the ability to customize your caliper color. So you can do red or blue with M Sport Professional. This one in particular is obviously red. Blue looks really nice on those blue colors that we have. I really like the blue caliper with tanzanite blue or carbon black because both of those paints have some blue in them. But I think red looks nice. So this car is Brooklyn gray with the red calipers, and as you'll see, it has a really cool new Tacora red interior for the X6. So that's the side. Let's go ahead and move around to the back. Around back with the X6, again, its slope back roofline is the focal point from your point of view. We see it the most in the back. We see it a lot from the side too, but from the back is really where you can tell it apart from an X5, no problem. So it starts right about here is where the slope back roof sort of differs. It's actually a little bit further up, but this is where the roof spoiler is mounted. The top of the 2 spoilers is mounted to sort of exemplify the shape of the car and draw your eyes to the roof line. And then this is obviously a traditional trunk lid spoiler in black here with M Sport Professional to sort of top off the rear deck lid and just finish the look. So that rear glass is at a pretty significant angle too. It's very flat, like wedge shaped in the back. So that's something to consider. It does affect your visibility, but that's sort of the price you pay if you want that cool slope back roof. You are going to give up a little bit of rear visibility, but that's what you have going on with the rear glass in this area, that roof line. Moving down, we have the taillights here. Now, these don't look very different from pre-LCI at all. That contrasts with the X5, where the taillights are totally new, totally redesigned. You couldn't mistake a pre-LCI for an LCI. From the back, that's not really the case with the X6. Now, I couldn't find anywhere in the press release for this car. I did look where BMW says that they changed the taillight or that they didn't change the taillight. To me, it looks really just the same as pre-LCI, but I don't want to say for sure that it is because I couldn't find that anywhere in the press release to confirm one way or the other. So that's the taillight. Looks the same as pre-LCI to me. You have these vents on the side of the bumper, which is again a signature thing with the X6. That is not shared with X5. That's an X6 specific thing. And then as we move down, you have your X6 badging. Obviously that's unchanged from pre-LCI. And when you get to the bottom part of the bumper, just like the X5, that is the same as pre-LCI. So the big change for the X6 in the LCI happened in the front of the car and of course in the interior, which we're going to talk about. But the rear end of the car did not see any major changes at all. So that'll do it for the exterior. Let's hop in the trunk and the back seat to talk about the cargo space and the rear seat space, and then we'll hop inside and talk about the front passenger area. All right, here we are around back with the X6. Now, one thing I do want to mention when we're talking about the cargo area is that you do sacrifice a little bit of cargo capacity, and you are also sacrificing, compared to X5, the split lift back. So the lift gate, the tailgate in the X5 is split in two. So you have the upper portion and then you have the actual tailgate that folds down like this. You can sit on it, but the X6 doesn't have that. It does have a traditional one-piece tailgate, so just something to note. Cargo capacity as far as depth is about the same as an X5. However, you can't quite stack stuff as much in the X6 as you can in the X5, because the X5 obviously has the more traditional SUV shape and thus allows you to fit more things in it. Now, if you fold down the back seats, the X6 has plenty of space, so it is still plenty practical. If you need that cargo space, you need that practicality, the X6 does offer it. It does have significantly less cargo space than the X5. There's no way around that. But the cargo space is still plenty usable for the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people that are doing grocery runs, things like that, you have plenty of room for groceries. You could totally fit 4 people in the car and 4 people's medium-sized luggage cases, suitcases in the back here. So plenty practical if you need it, but if you do need that extra little bit of storage space, you are going to want to go for the X5. So that's the cargo area. Let's hop in the back seat. All right, so in the back seat of the X6, again, we're going to get some differences from X5. One difference that's just kind of general with X6 to X5, the door handles are a little bit different. The grab handles are designed a little bit differently. I think it's kind of cool. The X6 is a really substantial, sturdy grab handle, which I really like. But sitting in the back seat, let's talk about back seat space. So the big difference besides the grab handles is the amount of head space. So I'm about 5'9". If I extend my spine completely and I sit totally straight up, I have about that much headspace left, so 2 inches or so. So if you're above 6 foot, you're not going to be able to sit perfectly upright in the back of the X6. You'll have to slouch a little bit or go to the side or something like that. Now, besides the relatively limited headspace, which is really not even that limited, it's just for really tall folks, you are going to have some trouble sitting perfectly upright. But knee space, leg space, foot space is totally fine. So this driver's seat is where I would position it as a driver, and I have plenty of room for both of my knees. I have plenty of hip room, plenty of shoulder room. So the overall amount of space in the rear of the X6 is fine. It's just head space that limits you a little bit, again, if you're a taller passenger. As far as amenities back here, you do have dual zone climate. That is part of the climate comfort package. So rear seat passengers each get their own climate zone as well as heated seats, which is nice. You have a USB-C port on the back of each seat. You have a 12-volt cigarette lighter style outlet down here in the lower part of this rear center console. Then you have your map pockets on the back of each door, as well as really big bottle holders on each rear passenger door. You do have a fold-down center armrest with cup holders as well, so plenty of practicality. In the back of the X6, you have place for bottles, you have map pockets, you have climate control. Really nice, especially with the climate comfort package. The back seat is quite a nice place to be. The seats are comfortable, and it's overall definitely a place that I, at my height, could spend a lot of time. But if you're 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", it might be a little bit cramped, but if you slouch a little bit, you'll be fine. So that's the back seat of the X6. Let's go ahead and hop up front and talk about the front passenger area. All right, so here we are inside of the 2024 X6, and of course, the headline feature in this interior is the addition of iDrive 8. So iDrive 8 is BMW's latest and greatest, newest and best infotainment system. It is the curved display that you're seeing advertised everywhere and in all the press releases. This is BMW's curved display. It's iDrive 8. It's the infotainment system that found its way into the LCI X7. It's in the X5 now. It's in the 3 Series. It's in the 4 Series. It is proliferating rapidly across the BMW lineup. It's in all the EVs. So iDrive 8 is here for the X6, and it looks really nice. I think it looks good in all of the models that it's in. I know a lot of people don't really like the sharp angles and the sort of sticking out, not integrated into the dash look. I do like a traditional dashboard gauge cluster with the hood over it, but I can get over it. It's 2023. This is the way of the world. All automakers are doing this, and of course BMW's got to compete. We have to have the latest and greatest tech, so this is that. And I think For the modern sort of screen-heavy infotainment systems that we're transferring to, I think BMW's done a good job. The infotainment system, so the center screen here is obviously touch. You can use your iDrive controller. It's wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It has enhanced Bluetooth. It has all of those features that you would expect to see in a new BMW. It has a really good native navigation system. Our nav system is really, really nice. I actually prefer to use our navigation system as opposed to CarPlay when I'm driving these cars. It works that well. You have a really nice configurable gauge cluster in front of you. So iDrive 8 is the center point, like I said, and it works really, really nicely. We've talked about it in every one of our videos that has iDrive 8 in it. That's iDrive 8, like I said, works great, looks really nice, and definitely gives a modern flair to the interior of the X6 here. Another thing that's new for 2024 on the interior is the removal of a traditional shift knob. So now we have this rocker switch. So like with iDrive 8 at first, when I saw the rocker switch, I wasn't sure if I would like it or not, wasn't really sold on it until I actually used it and found that I actually like it quite a lot. It's the perfect size to put 2 fingers on it, so I just really quickly press it back and forth with 2 fingers. It works really nicely, it's seamless, it's easy to use, it's super intuitive, and it definitely clears up some space. It does take away, you know, I always like to rest my hand on the shifter, so it takes that away, so you have to find something to do with your right hand when you're driving, but it looks good, it works good, so that's new as well. Other than those 2 things, not a ton is going to stick out to you if you're coming from a 23 or older X6. Everything else is pretty much a continuation of the pre-LCI, with the exception of the seats, of course. So these are the multi-contour Sensafin seats. That's not necessarily new, but the color, this 2-tone Tacora red with black, is. So you have this option. The 2-tone is new for 2024. We didn't have this on 2023 and older X6s, and I think it looks really, really good. I really like the 2-tone look. I like red interiors, but I like them more when there are elements of black in the seat as well. An all red seat can sometimes be a little bit too much. So in this car, the bolsters, both side and lower, are black, and then the center portion of the seat is red. And I think that's the perfect way to do a red interior. So they did a great job with that. Other things that are unique to the X6, like I said, in the back seat, the door cards, the door handles, I should say, are bulkier and a little bit thicker. So the X6 has that same design that it has on the door handles here, which gives you a really substantial thing to grab onto. Feels very rugged. You have that same shape on the center console here, which ties in nicely. So that's different from the X5. The center console here is shaped a little bit differently. It's a little bit more angular, a little bit more sort of boldly styled, even on the inside, just like on the outside. So that's pretty cool to see. We also have the addition of this new dash. Now, it is new both to accommodate iDrive 8, that big curved display, and it also introduces the light bar, the sort of pseudo interaction bar from the 7 Series, except without the buttons on it. We get that similar design here in the X6, X5, X7 that has spread across the BMW SAV lineup, and we have it here in the X6 just like in the X5 and the X7. It has the portion on the passenger side that has those cool little lines in it that are backlit, and then the model name X6, of course, over there on the right. So that's a new design element. I think it looks really nice. It integrates the air vents in sort of a sleek, hidden sort of way, and you twist the little knobs on the outside of the dashboard to close or open the air vents. You still get really good airflow through there. So that's a new element on the interior of the X6. Other than that, really not a ton that's new. So the iDrive screen, the dashboard, those are both new for 2023, as is the shifter. Otherwise, it's pretty much all carryover stuff. We do have some unique hazard lights, but that's part of the dashboard. So those 3 things cover what is new for 2023 as far as physical pieces in the car that are going to be different than your 2023 or older X6 or X5. Those are the things that are new for 24. So that is the interior of the X6. As far as what it's like to be in here, the ergonomics, like I always say in every video with BMWs, they're fantastic. BMW, if they know how to do anything, it's ergonomics. They are always really, really nice. The armrests always fall at the same height. The center line of that BMW roundel, which obviously comes to a perfect point, always lines up right with the center of your sternum. Forward visibility is great. Side visibility is good. Blind spots are not bad at all. However, when you adjust this rear view mirror, you do have good rear visibility. You can see out of there pretty easily, but Due to the angle of the rear glass, it's a little bit smaller of an opening, so it's not as good as an X5, not as good as X7 or X3. It's just not quite as easy to see out of the back, but that is just a function of the shape of the car. Know that going in, if you're going to buy an X6, you have to know you're sacrificing cargo space and rear visibility, but you're getting that cool bold style. So that's what the X6 exists for. People that buy one know that, or if they don't, they should. So you do have slightly worse rear visibility. Over the shoulder visibility is just as good. The seats, these are the multi-contour seats. As you can tell by the sort of line design on the headrest there, that's part of the multi-contour seats. If you get Sensafin, you'll see that. So these are really comfortable. They're really plush. They're very nicely bolstered if you want them to be. So you have the adjustable side bolsters if you want to have the car squeeze you in a little bit more for sporty driving, or you can have those flared out if you're a little bit bigger and you want some more space. Totally works either way. Either one is really comfortable. You have the adjustable thigh support, so lots of ways to get comfortable. Everybody can find a comfortable spot in the X6. As far as tall drivers, not a problem at all. I have plenty of headroom. I move the seat up. I would actually move it down a little bit for my own personal driving position, but plenty of headroom. No matter, you know, I have 6-7 inches of headroom there, so plenty of room there. Knees can fall really nicely to either side of the center of the seat. The dashboard doesn't intrude on you at all. The footwell for your pedals and the pedal box is all nicely shaped, so just sitting in the car just feels like the car is very nicely molded around you. It's really comfortable, and everything looking out in front of you looks good. The screens look nice. They fall in the right place. The lines of sight are all really good, so ergonomics are done really well, as is everything else in the interior here. Build quality is fantastic. Material quality is great. Really very little to find to complain about here in the X6. In fact, I can't find anything to complain about. It's just a really nice place to be. So that is the interior of the X6. Let's go ahead and hop outside and we'll wrap up with our final thoughts. Alright, so that's going to do it for this walk around and overview with the 2024 BMW X6. Hopefully you guys enjoyed checking out the X6, and hopefully this video gave you a thorough idea of what it's like to check out the X6, poke around its different features, and compare it to an X5, as well as a pre-LCI X6. Overall, I think the LCI was a great success with the X6. I think it modernized the design. I think the front end looks really nice, these slimmer headlights. The back end, they didn't change much, but overall the design has been brought just a little bit more into the modern era. It looks fresher. The interior is more technologically advanced. We obviously have iDrive 8. The powertrains are a huge benefit. Those are thoroughly revised. So I think the X6, just like the pre-LCI, with LCI it's still true, represents a great choice for those folks that don't necessarily need all the practicality of an SUV, but they want that higher ride height. They want a little bit bolder look. They want something that stands out a little bit compared to all those traditional shaped SUVs. The X6 offers an alternative that's styled a bit more boldly and that makes it a little bit more of a statement, both inside and out. So the interior is a little bit different, especially if you get a color combo like this. It has those cool bulky door handles and center console. So the X6 is nice if you just want an SUV, maybe don't need the practicality and the cargo space as much, and you want something a little different. X6 is great. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at BMW of Morristown. That'll do it for this one, and we'll see you in the next one.